One of the country's most abundant sources of energy is yet to be harnessed, although not for a lack of trying. Nearly 2 decades of fierce opposition killed a plan to build wind turbines off Cape Cod, but the political climate and technology has evolved, and we may soon see the country's first full-scale offshore wind farm. Stephanie Leydon takes us to a local fishing community gearing up to capture wind.
Here in New Bedford, the port has always been the heart of the city's economy. From its early days as a whaling capital to its present incarnation as a fishing hub.
This is probably where 90% of the fish is offloaded.
Port Director Ed Anthis Washburn says the same infrastructure that's long supported fishing is well suited for wind. The country's first official offshore wind farm went online 2 years ago off Rhode Island's coast. But it's small, just 5 turbines. The one planned for the waters off Massachusetts will have more than 100, each one about the size of a skyscraper.
Some of the foundation pieces are between 1,200 and 1,600 tons, so they really are massive.
Which is the reason for the 29-acre marine commerce terminal, enough room for those turbine pieces to be loaded on barges and like a giant Lego set assembled out in the ocean.
It's, I think, a $2 billion construction project.
What's that mean for the city?
We're hoping that it means a lot of jobs, a lot of guys in boots.
But there's concern that harnessing the wind will harm this community's lifeblood.
We have a very sustainable fishery at the moment.
Dan Ellertson owns a small fleet of boats dedicated almost entirely to scallops. That's the catch that's made New Bedford the country's most valuable port. But he says getting to the scallop breeding grounds could be a hazard if he's navigating through turbines.
If your autopilot goes out, if the wind blows up, if your engine fails and you start to drift off the course, I mean, all you're going to have is obstacles to hit.
He'd like to see the turbines spaced far apart, or better yet, fewer of them. Also a concern, a proposed wind farm off New York, right in the middle of a scallop breeding area.
We need to make sure that offshore wind is done the right way. Offshore wind is not going to supplant fishing here in New Bedford, not by a long shot. It's real. We want to set things up so that the two industries complement one another.
Set the course as states along the East Coast also begin to harness the power of offshore wind. Stephanie Leydon, WGBH News.
That offshore wind farm is expected to produce enough electricity for 400,000 Massachusetts homes, about 6% of the state's electricity needs. That's only the beginning. In the next decade, the state expects to double its offshore wind production.